Namaskar, Ashok Vyas, and as we are moving very close to the concluding part of 2020, there are many developments happening, and I have the pleasure of the presence of Padma Shri Dr. Sudhir Parikh in today's special, important, and significant session. So let me take this opportunity of welcoming you with thanks, Dr. Sahab. Namaste. Swagat hai aapka.
Namaskar, namaskar.
So everyone seems to be worried about what we have experienced, seen in 2020. As we come to the last month of this year, what are your thoughts and feelings in general with respect to COVID-19?
Well, I think we survived the COVID. COVID is almost 8-9 months old now. And I think vaccine is around the corner. In next 2-3 weeks, we'll have a vaccine. And that's the only effective way of terminating this pandemic. And so we are hoping to, and we have more than almost 3 vaccines, which will be approved by FDA in next 2 to 3 weeks. And everyone should take their vaccine whenever it's available to them. Because by taking the vaccine, that's the only way to curtail this pandemic.
And in this context, India also has been working tirelessly, and Prime Minister visited some of the facilities to interact with scientists and research teams. What do you think about the way things are progressing for the development of vaccine in India? And if you compare them with the way you see that happening here in America?
Well, I mean, obviously, India is a little behind than USA as far as the development of the vaccine is concerned, because still they are on the phase 2 and phase 3 trial phase, which is, it means vaccine is about few months away from today. But in USA, the 3 vaccine is already completed their trial, and that shows their data is very impressive. And it will be confirmed and approved within next 2 to 3 weeks.
There is another issue which was discussed initially when President Trump mentioned to this as Chinese virus. And now WHO is again mentioning that let us not politicize probe of virus origins. How do you see this thought process? Is it important and necessary to pinpoint the origin, or what we have in front of us, we need to address it irrespective of wherever it was originated?
Well, I mean, Trump administration is addressing. I mean, really credit goes to Trump administration that usually vaccine takes 2 to 3 years to develop. And Trump administration has done that whole thing within 1 year or less than 1 year. That shows that they are addressing it. So whether to say Chinese virus or not, that's all political rhetoric for political purpose. But that has nothing to do with the handling of the vaccine.
Staying with America for a while, with respect to the transition happening, President-elect Biden has declared many Indian Americans for important responsibilities. Overall, if you have paid attention to the way Biden team is working to build their officials, anything in particular, especially in the context that we see at least 6 to 8 Indian American names in that list?
Well, I mean, it is always welcome to see the 7-8 Indian Americans' names in Biden transition team. But all those positions, we must keep in mind that they are all administrative position. This is not cabinet position. So we should not. I mean, we should welcome that, but we should not get excited about it. 100%.
And as there were a lot of litigations and lawsuits, and looks like there is no significant traction in terms of Trump teams claim about some frauds having taken place, and even some of the recounting has also not gone in favor of Trump. So, on that front, any thoughts that you may want to share?
Well, I think again, Trump has right to, or any candidate has right to exhaust all the legal opportunities or legal rights to exhaust, and that's what Trump is doing it. But anyway, in 2 weeks, when Congress meets and when Congress will or electoral will certify the candidate and their and the number of electoral votes. That's the end result, and I'm sure even Trump said that whatever electoral body, means Congress, will certify, he will abide by that, and he will move on and give the transition to the new incoming president.
So this has been quite sort of a challenging time, even after 3rd November elections were over, and yet we do not have a conclusive, definite declaration of President-elect Biden because of the process involved. Just stepping back and looking at the way America conducts its election and being the biggest democracy, significant one in the world, would you recommend some changes in the overall structure of electoral and anything to make sure that people are not left with some doubts in their mind about fairness of having conducted the elections?
I think the USA should have very uniform election procedure. It should have. Not that should not be decided by individual state, because when it happens, there's always a different state has different way of conducting the election, and that creates more confusion and ultimately leads to the perception of unfairness or fairness or whatever. So I think they should make a whole election process in every state very homogeneous, and certain rules and regulation has to be established before election, and make sure that everybody follows the rules and regulation, and no one is allowed to change those rules and regulation a few days before the election.
Absolutely. And as we move towards 2021, let us go towards India. And when you reflect on what you have seen, indeed we will talk about COVID situation, but other than COVID, anything in particular which you felt was very significant and is going to stay in your memory coming from Indian news?
Well, I mean, obviously there are a few things that are happening in India, and a few good things are happening because Prime Minister is very proactive and very visionary agendas. Particularly yesterday, he inaugurated a big highway structure in the Uttar Pradesh near Varanasi, and the farmers bill also, again, it's a very proactive and very freedom oriented or capitalist oriented bill, and that is good for farmers too, as long as they understand properly. And unfortunately, right now, it needs more clarification and education to the farmers, because there's some of the group of the farmers are right now opposing it. So they should correct that, and they should put the minimum suggested price in writing in the law. That way, everybody gets to feels better and protected.
So I think you have brought a very important point. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also said that opposition is using misinformation or rumors to create these kind of agitations. But that doesn't take away the responsibility of the government overall. Because if you are making some changes or bringing about some changes, even if they are for the well-being of the farmers, is it not the responsibility of the government to have been proactively looking at these possibilities, and so that the message reaches to the affected people in the simple way, considering the fact that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is accepted, and undoubtedly he's a wonderful communicator and orator. So this is
Yes, I
something,
think,
yeah.
yeah, obviously government is lacking in that, or government is taking granted that people understand what they are saying in the bill, but obviously not. So government has to do a little more of proactive education of the farmers and explain to them what's really in the bill.
Now, as you are aware, many farmers from Punjab and Haryana have reached Delhi and they are agitating. This has another byproduct in terms of the surge of COVID uh, impact. How do you look at this concerning scenario, and anything which the government should have already done differently?
Well, I mean, they should have educated farmers more proactively, more in detail. But now they have not done. They should do it now. So then there is no agitation. There is no getting together a large group of the people, which again may lead to the unnecessary surge of the COVID cases. So I think government should work very proactively and make sure that farmers understand that they should not get together and become a super spreader of the COVID infection.
In order to move towards a safer world, especially with respect to COVID, if you are to look at the role played by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, initially there were very, very big praise which was coming for him from the international community. Do you see Modi government sustained the same spirit of checking COVID, or because of multiple agitations or sometimes rumors bringing laborers back to their villages from cosmopolitan cities, created a kind of avoidable spread of COVID?
I think it was good start in the beginning, obviously, but then in between, government has little hurriedly reopened the whole thing. It did not thought about this migrant worker problem effectively and did not handle it effectively. But all said and done, I think overall they are doing good job, and hopefully will help to curtail this whole pandemic sooner than later.
Many times they say that planning plays an important role, but this year showed sometimes uncertainty comes in such a way that all the planning needs to be redesigned or revised. Yet, when we start from fresh slate as the new year approaches, we think about what way we would like to shape the coming canvas of 2021. In your case, personally, or for Indian American community, any plans or any ideas that you may want to share?
Well, only, I mean, it's again, we are keep repeating ourselves every week that, I mean, COVID, the vaccine is around the corner. And so people has to be patient for next 2-3 weeks, be very vigilant, wear the mask in the public, keep the personal hygiene, and keep the distance. If we do that, and when vaccine comes, try to be volunteer and get the vaccine. And that's only way to terminate or end this pandemic. And I'm sure everybody will do it because that's good for everyone. And so I would like to say that please follow the CDC guideline, get the vaccine when it comes, and end this pandemic and go back to the normal life. Thank you. Goodbye. And God bless America. God bless India. God bless Indian American community. Goodbye. Bye.